Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Hello everyone. So the next thing or the next topic that we have to talk about is competition. We talked about in the social processes that competition is a dissociative process. Dissociative process which is not bringing people together, which is in a way initiating some kind of reward or a punishment situation wherein people tend to secure or people tend to have their place or themselves as a superiority or a superior as thing. So understanding about what is the meaning or the definition of the term competition. Now we definitely know that there are some resources that are limited in supply. Now those resources, rewards are also taken as the resources which are limited. So here like the resources, the natural resources that we talk about that are limited in supply, rewards are also taken as the resources which are limited in supply. And such resources and rewards may comprise of money, jobs, prestige and honor. So when you talk about such rewards, these rewards may be money, job, prestige, honor, all of these aspects which are very, very important for a lot of people in the society. Now they say every individual or group in society cannot get these rewards. Obviously, not everyone can get these rewards. These are rewards, so it has the tendency of being there in the hands of few. Also, because it is limited, it cannot be there in everyone's hand. So, there is a struggle to get them by surpassing others. You have a race as an example wherein all of you are in competition, wherein you are, for example, fighting for that medal. When you are trying to achieve that medal by being better than the rest of them, and there's this struggle of getting it by surpassing the others, as in by taking over the others, by leaving the others behind. The whole process of surpassing others to obtain such rewards or resources is known as competition. Like I explained to you as a part of or as an example of a race, it means you are trying to achieve that, you are trying to obtain that reward or resources by leaving others behind, by surpassing those others. Horton and Hunt, they said that competition is the struggle for possession of rewards which are limited in supply. These may be goods, power, status, love or anything. Three very important words here, rather four very important words here. One, it is a struggle. It is not something which you are getting very easily. It is not there. It is a struggle. Second, for possession, to possess that, to own that, to have that. Of reward, some reward, some kind of achievement which is limited in supply or which is limited in number. These all aspects of a reward being there, a struggle being there, the possession being there, all of these things tend to be in the process of competition. Herein, according to Bizang, it is said that competition is the striving of two or more persons for the same goal which is limited so that cannot be shared, so that all cannot share. striving, again, a struggle. Again, you are struggling for it. It is not something, it is not a cakewalk that anyone will go and get it. For the same goal, you have the same goal. You want to have the position of a head boy. All of you are in the competition. You want to win that medal. All of you are in that competition for that one medal. You want to be the CEO of some of the companies. All of you all together are in the competition. So everyone has the same goal. Unless and until people do not have the same goal. If I do not have a goal of taking that medal, of achieving that medal, that means I am not really in the competition. So all the people to be on the competition, as a part of the competition, ought to have the same goal. And it is limited, it is shared, and hence cannot be shared. It is limited, it is not there in abundance, and hence cannot be shared. And this is how a competition is explained. So competition is a struggle, all the major words that I've highlighted, that occurs when people try to maximize their rewards at the expense of others. I want that. I want to maximize my reward. I want more and more money. I want more and more power. I want more and more honor. I want more and more, in your case, those medals. So I want to maximize my rewards at the expense of others. So that is the whole struggle about it, and that is how competition works. It is goal oriented. Like I said, if you do not have a same or a similar goal, there is no point of having a competition. So you have a goal oriented situation. It is universal. Not that only in India does competition exist. It is universal across nations, all within nations, across all different states, entities, caste, class, across everywhere is the competition that is there. It is mostly impersonal. It is at times personal when you want to have, when you want to possess something, when you want to possess some materialistic thing majorly. Unless and until it is there, it is mostly impersonal. It is dynamic. It changes frequently. Today I am fighting for the post of manager. Tomorrow I would want that promotion. I would want another bigger post. Today I am fighting for, let's say, a salary of 75k. I am in the competition. Tomorrow, when I've got this already, I might be in a lakh salary queue in the competition. Also, it is culturally patterned activity. However the culture has been seen, it is how people acquire to take that aspect of competition. It may be conscious or unconscious, positive or negative. It is not always that a competition is positive. It is not always that a competition is negative. It can be positive. It can be negative at times as well. It may be conscious that I'm consciously fighting for that post. It may be unconscious that I do not even realize. It's just innate. It's just a part of me that I want to have that competition. At times, especially in the times, in the pandemic situation, when we were fighting, we were in the competition for our survival. It is just an unconscious situation when you become a part of it. Talking about the types or the forms of competition, this is according to Merker and Wanderer that these types of the competition or the forms of competition exist. The first one being pure and limited competition. When you talk about the pure and the limited competition, pure competition is without any restrictions, and that does not exist in reality. You got to have certain restrictions, you got to have certain limitations when you are talking about competition. Pure competition is wherein you do not have restrictions without any restrictions. Wherein the limited competition is the one in which individuals or groups compete according to rules, and this is what is there that exists in this scenario. Pure competition does not exist because you got to have restrictions, you got to have rules. So the limited competition is wherein you have rules and regulations, you have restrictions while you are in the process or while you are facing that particular competition. This is what pure and limited competition means. Then you have absolute and relative competition. Now, absolute competition is found when the reward is precise and defined. For example, the position of the president. If you win this race, you will get that medal. It is a very precise and a definite reward that you have. If you win this GD, or if you are in the competition, you have the reward as very clear of getting the post of the president. Wherein the relative competition is found when the reward is not precise and different competitions can get different levels of reward, example, wealth or power. Okay, if you have reached till this level, this is what you get and this is what you become a part of. However, if you have, okay, so you will get this much of wealth if you are in the competition. So it is not only the stage 1 or the first prize possible. You have consolations as well, and it is a relative game of who comes first, who comes second, and who comes third, and who gets the consolation. So this is what is talked about in the relative competition. Moving on to personal and impersonal, very much clear from the names as well. Personalist competitors are directly competing with one another. For example, a sports event. If you are playing a game of chess, you are directly competing with the other person. That is how it is personal competition. Wherein in personal, you have no personal contact between the competitors. For examples, companies which produce same items. For example, if you talk about chocolates, all those Cadbury, Nestle, you have, all these companies that are producing chocolates are not directly in competition with each other. Not that only Nestle will have a competition with Cadbury. It is that, it is a whole fraternity. It is a whole community of the companies which are producing similar or same items, and they are in competition with each other in that aspect. Next they talk about is the creative competition. Again, something that involves creativity or the production of new items is creative competition. For example, if I give you an example of collage making, this is something that you will get in hand. Materialistically, you will get a new item. Something that if I tell you to do something with the 3 R's and recycle something, upcycle something, that is what becomes a part of the creative competition. Whereas non-creative competition, there's no use of creativity, there's no creativity involved, and industries that exploit minerals are there as a part or as an example of non-creative competition. All the industries that are excessively using the natural resources or are excessively exploiting the minerals for their growth and for their upliftment that becomes a part of the non-creative competition. So when we talk about competition and summarizing the aspect of competition, it says that it can also be social, economical, political and cultural that we talked about. It can be a social competition for some prestigious post or for some honor. It can be economical when you talk about the wealth. It can be political when you talk about the political parties, or when you talk about some political position. It can be cultural when you talk about the hierarchy of the cultural aspects, or the supremacy of the cultural aspects. All of these things can possible in the competition. It is valuable in fulfilling the needs, desires and aspirations. Definitely has a positive impact as well, wherein it is valuable in fulfilling the needs, the desires, the aspirations of the people around. It provides scope for merit and capacity to work. You are able to kind of evolve. You are able to understand your abilities, and you have this capacity to work and get merit for all of these. It leads to achieve progress, to gain new knowledge and experience, and definitely helps in reaching new discoveries and inventions. When you have all of this competition, it is not always an unhealthy competition. It is there in the scenario wherein you tend to have some kind of innovation, some kind of invention or discovery. You're able to get new knowledge, you're able to get new experience, you're able to experience something new and progress and achieve in your life. Moving on to the assignment questions. What is competition? We have talked about it. It is one of the dissociative ways or the dissociative processes that we have talked about. It means that the resources which are limited in nature, and there are some rewards. Similarly, there are some rewards which are limited. So how in the process you surpass the others and achieve that is known as competition. Then here they are talking about absolute competition. We talked about it, wherein you have the precise information or the definite goal or the definite information about the reward. I took an example of the post of the president here in that absolute competition. Next question is, what are the four forms of competition? We have talked about pure and limited. Pure and limited competition, wherein we talked about what is the first, wherein you have restrictions and wherein you do not have rules and regulations. Then you have absolute and you have relative. You are just in competition with one another. You have very defined and definite goals and rewards, and on the other hand you are just in competition as a part of the system. Then you have personal and impersonal, wherein we talked about how the competitors directly compete with one another, and impersonal, where is the Cadbury's and the chocolate example that I took. Then you have obviously creative and non-creative form of competitions. These are the four forms of competition that we have talked about. Moving on to what is competition, briefly explain the forms and the types of competition. We have just discussed all of these in the slide before. Discuss competition as a social process. Now this is very, very interesting, and this has to be understood. Discussing competition as a social process, obviously dissociative process, wherein you are in a way taking that whole taking the whole process in a form of coming to a consensus, coming to a result, even if it is a positive or a negative aspect of the competition. That is what it aims to do in the social process.